I get a kick out of protocol. So I've worked at organizations and companies before that we had a certain dress code. And I thought that was really funny that you could weigh 200 pounds more than your proper weight, or you could have really horrible posture by choice. But if you dressed with the current protocol requirements from your company or your organization, they wouldn't have any problems with how you looked. Maybe you could have blue hair even, which has been common lately. The different hair colors that people, men and women, and other people who don't consider them men and women use. So I don't know what to do with that. I mean, does that sound like um, what does that? I didn't even know the proper word to use to describe that anomaly. It just doesn't make sense to me that you would uphold dress codes, but not posture and being close to your proper weight and even your gait. You could have a really horrible gait, but nobody says anything when you're 10 years old. So now you have that improper gait for the rest of your life.
Yeah, there's so much in that, and uh, we miss the important things in living, and oftentimes, and we're driven by the herd, whatever's current, whatever is, and now it's TikTok and it's all that stuff it's really captured our not just our youth, but a lot of people in the world in terms of doing these stupid videos, for 30 seconds, and people being influencers because they have a big list of people who are showing up to hear them, watch them, whatever, and be
So
guided.
did you want to finish something?
No, that's it.
Okay. Okay. So what I thought we could do now is I'll mention what propelled me to think I had something to say in order to write my first book, Sedentary Nation, and then I'll ask you the same thing of why you wrote your first book on wellness, and then we could talk about Sparkle a little bit, which is the book that I've read, which I got a lot out of. But I've been a Jack LaLanne devotee, martial arts devotee, and then pursuing intellectual advancement my entire life. Written a fair number of books in fiction, and now three in nonfiction. And the ones in nonfiction are, of course, were a lot more research, and you had to get everything right. And then in the middle of editing, as you know, you could have a piece of the science that you read. There was a big study done maybe 2 years before you wrote your book, and now there's a new piece of science. How do you have to go back into your nonfiction book and edit the new science in? Go back to the editor, say, does this sound right the way I'm saying it? It's just an ongoing thing, and you wish you could have like a book that was alive and on the internet, so you could walk in and edit it 10 years later, 20 years later, without having to do this whole release of a new book. Does that make sense to you?
Sure, and that's what blogs are today, right? Continuous blogging, where you add to, take away from, and I think probably there are books like that now that you can get that are digital and to be changed, to
Yeah.
be edited, to be updated, periodically, and I think that's certainly when what we do, you being on in one side of it, but what we do with when more evidence creeps in, we have to pay attention to it. And especially something like, I mean, and I've been so immersed in what's called exercise, but movement, and the effect on the brain, and it changes, but not radically, I must say. We sort of have known this stuff. In Spark, I talk about the first medical textbook written by Hippocrates, 300 BC.
Yeah.
He talked about movement as a way to treat mood disorders,
Yeah.
depression, anxiety. He would tell people to go out and walk and keep moving and get up off their butts. And he lived that too, by the way. He was one of the, the early Greeks were always moving. Their gymnasiums were the places where they learned and taught, but they were often walking. It was while they were doing it, like some of the early scripture people, like Saint Ignatius Loyola, who had his students moving with him all the time, because that's what he felt was the best way to teach and the best way to learn and the best way to think.
Yeah, teachers and masters and having their devotees and students move with them, I think is a great way to do it. And I think when I was a high school teacher, I thought that if I could get these kids, many of them were sedentary kids, sometimes they were inner city kids, if I could get them out in nature and have them treat me with respect. So the thing I like about yoga centers and martial arts centers is when you walk in there, you could be a VIP, you could be an arrogant person, you could be whatever. When you walk in there, you turn over your mind, body, and spirit and your attention to that yoga teacher, to that master. It's a kind of an understood thing. And I wish we had that in school, because most teachers I know worked really hard and deserved to have people be attentive and respectful of their time and not, run away and cause trouble and then get the teacher fired, these types of things. And I think that would be so wonderful if we could have more of a moving classroom where unfortunately in a lot of the high schools, we have 33, 35 students, but we have a little bit of a hierarchy of some of the kids who can maintain and help maintain that group of 30 plus kids. But then we could do a little bit more roaming and everybody would be safe and as attentive as they could be. They don't have to be attentive 100% of the time, but at the crucial times and the safety times, and not, messing around with the other kids, messing the other kids up in that environment. I think that would be a great way we could learn. What are your thoughts on that?